All right, so I'm Josh French. I am a senior gold ambassador with Plexus Worldwide, and I am the guy who has been hosting the Sheepdog men's study. And we are starting class 2 of the SoulCon Challenge. SoulCon Challenge is a pretty interesting course of about a 6-week, just kind of diving into what can we do better physically, what can we do better spiritually, our prayer life, and then also looking to do some devotional time too. So that is the introduction to what SoulCon is. If you do not have the book already, I would encourage you to message me and let me know what you need, or I'll tell you what you need to keep up on. Just some housekeeping things. If you got this invitation, you either got to there from my personal page or you got to there from one of the 2 groups that are set up. There is an open group that is for any guy who's interested in participating in this challenge. You can search for that on Facebook, and it's also in the announcement of whoever sent this to you. And then there's a closed group, and that is going to be a little bit more business-specific discussion. So for those of us who are involved with Plexus Together, that's where we're going to have that conversation. But the general group stuff, you do not need to be an ambassador. You just need to be a guy who's either a believer or somebody who's exploring what it looks like to have a relationship with Christ and what that looks like to be participating physically with that as well. So again, a couple quick housekeeping things besides that. On the main page, that's the page that's open to everybody, I'm going to put up the graphic again this evening and a little blurb that says, if you are participating in class 2, which is starting tomorrow morning, just put I'm in there, and I'm going to form a group or a couple of groups, depending on how many guys we have, in Facebook Messenger chat. That is how we conducted our day-to-day accountability and just conversation with the guys from class 1. So we will form as many squads as we need. It's going to be a squad is up to 12 guys. I will be on each of those chats if there are multiples. And guys shared everything. They shared their struggles. They shared information about exercises. They shared what their brokenness was, and then just their stories. So it was a great first class. I'm looking forward to duplicating that. Before I get too far into this, everybody can hear me? Thumbs up? All right, so sounds good. Okay, so if you just got your book and you have not cracked the cover, what you need to do before tomorrow is go ahead and read through page 72. 72 starts the actual first week of our challenge. And what it does is it lays out, actually it might be longer than that. Sorry, 77. Through 77 gives you an understanding of why this book was written, why this course material is important, and how we're going to conduct ourselves over the next 6 weeks. So get through that this evening. It's actually a pretty easy read. So go ahead and knock that out, and then we will start fresh tomorrow. A couple of lessons learned from the first class. It is easy, especially after the first week or so, to kind of slip back into that routine where comfort, wasting time watching television, the busyness of our schedules, just the physical demands of pushing yourself for 5 days and kind of letting that soreness kind of, the excuse monster start to talk to you. So a couple of things I encourage you to do. First of all, go ahead and take a look at the sample menu at the end of the book, and it kind of gives you an understanding of what kinds of things, in addition to what those first 77 pages talk you through as far as the menu. And go ahead and plan that out. It's very simple. There are some variations that he puts in there that just kind of gives you some variety. So if you're a guy that can't eat the same thing day in and day out, then go take a look, and then your shopping list is going to be a little bit different. But some very basic things, some eggs, some plain oatmeal, chicken, if you're able to eat chicken, thumbs up, Clint. Some kind of lean protein, lots of good color veggies, so good deep greens, broccolis and Brussels sprouts and stuff like that. So some very basic menu items. I would encourage you to do this evening. If not by tomorrow, go ahead and list out however you shop. So if you do it on a weekly basis, say, hey, I'm going to need these things to kind of stay on track. If you do a 2-week shop, if you do a month shop, then just go ahead and get that done. I think a lot of us that are involved in this already have a pretty clean menu in our houses. We just kind of have to, put the other stuff aside and let the kids eat the Captain Crunch or whatever cereal you're letting them consume. I'm making no judgments. I'm just saying there's reality. So just go ahead and make that plan for the food and just do yourself a quick little note. You can do it on a sheet of paper. You can do it on however your family plans menus, and just get that out of your mind now, because what we're going to do is we're going to start to lay some things out so that you do not have to think about what you need to do. You just need to get off your rear end and do it. So we're going to make it real simple, okay? The second part of that, and this is speaking from my absolute experience, if I go ahead and check my running shoes, check that I have socks, check that I have shorts, T-shirts, whatever you need to do in order to exercise, if I go ahead and check and make sure that those are in kind of a central area, maybe even laid out for the next 5 workouts, or at least the next 2 workouts, it's one less excuse for you to get up again off your rear end and get out and get on the road, or get doing your push-ups and sit-ups, whatever you need to do. The next thing is, we didn't really read ahead in the last challenge, and I think that kind of gave us somewhat of a disadvantage. So I would encourage you to, as we start tomorrow is day 1, we run a weekly calendar of Monday through Saturday. Sunday is a rest day for everybody. Again, this is a Christ-focused training program, and we're definitely going to honor the Sabbath. So if your Sabbath's a Saturday, if your Sabbath's a Friday, whatever your rest day is, go ahead and adjust your schedule around that. But we want you to take this time. That's the way God designed us. He designed us not to fill every second of our lives with busyness. He designed us to be in community and to take that day of rest, and you're going to need it. And by the way, that bonus day, that rest day, is also your feast day, so you can actually, have the full-fat peanut butter. Not kidding. You can do whatever you want to on that day. It's just carte blanche. But I have a feeling you're going to be like a lot of us, and we found that we really didn't want to go splurge because we've done a lot of hard work. You start to see some results. You start to see some improvements really quickly, and so it wasn't worth having 5 cheeseburgers that day. So, and then the last thing is, find some place that makes sense for you to pray and to read scripture. There is not a huge commitment asking this. It's about 15 minutes of your day to do the reading, the prayer, and the scripture that's involved in the stories. So I would encourage you to do more than that. For me, if I don't have at least 30 minutes in the Word, it just doesn't set my day off well. And I do mine first thing. I love sitting outside, especially now that it's starting to get chilly, going through some Bible studies, going through the SoulCon material, and just getting my day started the way it should be started, which is what the guy has given me breath. So, that's what I was going to make the point on the schedule. We didn't read ahead the last time. What I would encourage you to do is Sunday, when you're doing your rest day, is to flip through what's coming up for the next 5 days. So the basic schedule is this. The encouragement is to exercise at least 30 minutes for 5 of those 7 days. Most of us knock it out just Monday through Friday. And then there's kind of a makeup day that you can do some additional stuff. You can have some additional rest. You can flex a day in there, and then your rest day. So what I would encourage you to do is not necessarily read the bulk of what each day is in the week, because he does lay it out in a 5-day course. Flip to the end of each day, and it has the little challenge section, and it kind of gives you an idea of what that day is. So, for example, tomorrow is our test end day. We will be completing, whether that's crawling, walking, or running, a 5K. We'll do as many push-ups as we can in 2 minutes, as many sit-ups as we can in 2 minutes. We're going to record those results, and we're going to report those out to the guys. And in 6 weeks, we're going to do that again. We're going to do a test out, and you're going to see how you improved. Some smaller challenge examples inside of that are, there's a day we do as many push-ups in 24 hours or our waking time as we can, as many air squats in that time as we can. So there's just some examples. It's good for you because now the kids are back in school, and I understand schedules are crazy, and I'm thinking that from this class on, we'll revise not reading ahead to doing the individual story piece, the devotional piece during your quiet time. But in the week of prep, as you're getting your meals ready, your clothes ready, kind of your mind around what's coming up in the week, to just go ahead and say, you know what, Tuesday's max push-up day, Wednesday's this, I've got a really big meeting on Thursday, I'm going to go ahead and move this to Friday, that kind of thing. So you just have a kind of a better preview of what's coming up. And I think that's probably going to be serve us a little bit better during this class. So we'll try it that way. So go ahead and pre-read the challenge pieces so that you know, hey, I've got this coming up. Okay? Couple of tips for those of you who are just getting back to exercise and it's been a while, or you're coming off an injury, or whatever your case is, that you're not exercising at all, or you're doing it very infrequently. There's a great set of tutorials out there. First of all, most of us in Plexus have at least somebody in our organization that is kind of a dietary expert or a fitness expert, and they post, ways to stretch and what to eat and that kind of stuff all the time. So that piece is already taken care of. There's a guy, Michael Calaveri, who is, I think he's in his 50s. He's an editor for one of the men's magazines like Men's Health and Men's Fitness, does phenomenal little mini tutorials on ways to still exercise, especially for us older guys, that build good lean muscle, that work your body in a way that's not going to get you injured and that's going to give you results and not a huge amount of recovery time from doing something crazy. So if you have a problem area like your lower back or your knees or your shoulders, go ahead and search him on YouTube. And it's by topic. Most of his videos are 5 to 10 minutes max, and he will help you get around some of the injury issues that you might have, or some of the weaknesses you might have, and it's just an extra tip. So on those days where it's not a specific kind of exercise, you can work in anything you want to in those. It's just the encouragement is to do 30 minutes at least on the 5 days a week. Last thing, and then I'm going to open this up for questions. This group is accountable to each other. We do talk to each other. We do have a conversation about what's going on. This is not a beat you down, compare my results to another guy. This is compare my effort to another guy. God does not need us to be checking the box on this, and that's why you're accepting this challenge. He needs us to be warriors for his kingdom. He needs us to be physically able to do the work that is out there in front of us. That's why the SoulCon challenge was so attractive for me. I needed to be able to focus physically in order to be able to listen to what the Spirit was telling me to do next. So get some of these distractions out of your way, like, 13 hours of football on the weekend is great, but you could probably do some push-ups, sit-ups, air squats while you're watching Tennessee come back in the second half. Really? Anyway. So, yeah.
Well, I'm in Minnesota, so Vikings, right? They're like undefeated, and I'm not a huge football fan, but I got to shout that out. The Vikings are doing well.
Yeah, I'm more of a college football guy, so it was kind of the cherry on the sundae for my birthday week to be ahead by 3 touchdowns and then get creamed by the Tennessee Volunteers at the end of the game. So, well, the entire second half. So for any of you who are volunteers out there, don't let me know. Because I will ban you. No, I'm kidding. So that's about it, guys. Honestly, this is meant to be a serious thing. It's not meant to be, hey, I joined this committee, I joined this group, and just by me putting my name down, that's all I need. If that's what you're interested in, go pay the fat tax at a gym, $20 a month, and not show up. But this is not the group for you. We're not here to be, elite athletes in 6 weeks, but we are here to do some serious work and challenge each other and to be here for each other, iron sharpening iron to get through this. We saw some amazing results. I mean, guys shaving like 10 minutes off their 3 miles, push-up challenges, air squat challenges, people losing crazy amounts of body mass, of fat during 6 weeks last time. So I'm open for questions. So I'm going to go ahead and unmute everybody and move it to, let's see. Well, maybe I'll do this. I'll put it in gallery mode. And then if you guys have a question, it looks like there's just 9 of us on here, so I can see everybody on one page. You got a question, just raise your hand, and we will we'll unclick you. I think that's how I do it.
Josh, I'm just able to hit my mute button, and it works.
Oh, cool. Everybody else able to do that? Bottom left? All right. Who's got questions? Silence is compliance. Okay, tell you what.
Jason might have a question, Josh.
Okay, I'll come back to you in just a second. These Sundays, we are going to do, we're going to try to keep them to 30 minutes because The Walking Dead has restarted, and it will be. And no, I'm kidding. They will be recorded. We're going to try to keep them to about 30 minutes. We have a little bit of buffer time if we need to. But what we really want to do, and we tried to get this going the last round, was everybody give us kind of 2 sustains and 2 improves. I just go back to my after action review training, and that's something we always did. And it just seems like it's a great way for each guy to engage and just kind of give you an opportunity to have a voice on this thing. So go ahead, Jason.
What was that name you said you could look at the YouTube videos for some ideas?
Yeah, Athlean, like athlete, with lean X.
Okay, thanks.
If you search that, it should be like the first 300 things that pop up. All right, while you guys are thinking about your next question, something that was really helpful to me with the book is, I don't know if you can see this, but you can have like FedEx, Kinko's, or your local print shop cut the binding and put a spiral on there, and it helps you open and do your study a little bit easier. Just a top tip.
I got another hack that helped me, Josh. And hey, welcome, Joel. I see you on there. I don't know if you guys can see this, but I had a hard time keeping track of what day I was on. So I just made a quick little cheat sheet that says Monday through Sunday, the day, and then day 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, all the way to 42. So then every day I just highlighted it, just marked off the day, and I used it as a bookmark. So then I could open my book, and if did I read already today or did I not? It was just a quick little reminder. It took, literally 2 minutes to make. You could scribble it if you didn't have Excel, but I found it helpful just to keep myself accountable every day so I didn't miss a day or miss 2 days or something like that. It was just easy. Am I on track or not?
Cool. So you're saying you're better than us? Is that what it?
Nope. I learned from my mistakes. One other mistake I should bring up. Learning experiences. Like Josh said, this week's the time in. And last time I went full out, and I was not a runner. I was not prepared to do a 5K, and I didn't care. I said I was going to do it. I gave all I had. I ended up hurting my calf, and it wasn't like really serious, but it hurt for about 2 weeks. I was nursing that thing, and I still had to do the 5K. I still had to do the exercise. So I was thankful. I learned some good stretches, and just after walking, jogging, stretches, and then if you feel pain, guys, be careful. I mean, because unless you guys are super healthy, I wasn't, and I ended up nursing a calf for a while, and that wasn't any fun.
Yeah, and we'll I'll try to be a little bit more vocal on the group page this time as far as tips for recovery. Obviously, drinking water is huge. I know it's starting to get cooler almost everywhere we're living, but that water is actually going to help your body flush out some of the lactic acids, all of those negative things that happen when you exercise, because you're getting some very positive benefits from it, but your body has to get rid of some of that toxin that's shoving out of your system. It's also going to help you guys that need to drop a few pounds. Just go ahead and give it a conduit to be able to get out as well. So just be advised. The other thing, rolling pins are awesome, and foam rollers for us old broken guys. Jason's got a co-pilot. I like it. Okay, one more point, and something that happened pretty quickly and pretty organically in the last group. This is a group of believers. We're here to challenge each other spiritually. We're here to point each other towards Christ and to do this better. I encourage you to just own the fact that we are all broken men. We are all sinners. There is only one perfect being that has ever walked this face of the earth, and he has called us to his side. And I think there's a quote. I just saw it, and I wanted to say it again. Oh, yeah. Up in the note to reader section at the beginning of the book, Cody, the author, really crystallizes this very well. It really makes a great point for me. A lot of us, and he's fairly critical of the American Christian because we do tend to sit in our pews and check the box, just because we're on a committee or just because we're serving this way, what's our heart behind that? And that's some of the things that we're going to challenge ourselves over the next 6 weeks to figure out is, we move from a mentality, as he says, of saying, God, thank you for saving me so I don't go to hell, to God, thank you for saving me. Now please put me into the hells of this earth. He's really calling us to prepare to do something bigger. And that doesn't necessarily mean that we're going to be in the deepest, darkest parts of the continents of this world as a missionary. But what it is going to challenge us to do is to see things from a Christ focus, and that is exactly what it looks like. That's what we eat. That's how we talk. That's how we spend our time. That's how we treat our bodies. That's how we treat the relationships around us. So I would encourage you to just understand that we're all broken men here. We have different capabilities, but that's the beauty of the body of Christ, is that we have one head and many functioning parts, and our job is to figure out where we're at. So maybe I'm the big toe. I don't know. Could be the big toe. Nobody got the stripes reference. You all failed Josh's test number 1, by the way. Joel got it. All right. Okay. So look for opportunities to share. Look for opportunities to share your testimony with the group. Look for opportunities to just have a minute of quiet time in prayer with God. I don't like a lot of legalistic worship, things that we do rote over and over again. I think that there's some value in that. But one of the things that I've really loved about our challenge is praying on my knees every morning as I start my day, the Lord's Prayer. And I know I've known this prayer since I was a kid, but doing that on my knees is humbling, and it is a challenge, especially when, now that I'm in an apartment and I'm sitting on my balcony and people are walking by. I don't know why it's a challenge. I try to be bold for Christ in everything that I do, but there's some social pressure to do, to pray in public over your meals, to say a kind word to somebody when you should have said a mean word. Those are all things that we're called to do. And I love that piece of this challenge, in that I would love somebody to come knock on my door and say, why are you on your knees out on your patio? Let me tell you. So, hey, just look for opportunities. Look for opportunities to connect with the guys, and look for opportunities to challenge yourself. That's what this thing is all about. All right.
Hey, I got a quick question.
Send it.
Did the ones of y'all that done this last time, did it change up your plexus regiment any? Like, I see some people talk about taking BioCleanse before they do a workout or something.
Anybody else want to speak to that? It didn't change mine.
The cleanse, baby. I tell you what, when you go on fruit and vegetables, you don't need as much cleanse.
What's that, boy?
Yeah, I can comment too. The one thing I did add, I was doing eggs in the morning. It took me a while to figure out the food, some Greek yogurt, eggs, nuts. Really plan out your food ahead of time. At work, I would take food with me, always have it at work, so I wouldn't go grab a Snickers, or I wouldn't do that. I would intentionally, Monday when I went to work, I would have lots of food and take it to work, find a way to keep it there, have good food accessible. I did, for part of it, I wasn't taking shakes, the P96 shakes all that often before. I really like them, but I found throughout that process, I really enjoy those. In the morning, the Slim with P96, throw in some chia seeds or whatever you want to throw in there. And that became, over time, that became a good breakfast replacement for me. And even later in the day, sometimes
quit.
You'll learn to discipline yourself with hunger pains throughout this. You will have times where you're hungry. So the protein shakes were good for me as just having as a backup. And I did not because I think my body needed it, but Josh pointed it out partway through the last one. I think that you take your BioCleanse in the morning, and I was taking mine at night. So what I ended up doing, just kind of trial and error, like many of you guys probably have if you're Plexus people, is I still do 2 at night, but I did go to 2 in the morning also, and just kind of tried that out for a while. And I kind of gauge my body based on what I need. But so now I take 2 at night and then sometimes 2 in the morning, depending on just how my body's doing. So that was some lessons I guess I learned. And have some ease. If you don't have ease, go get some ease. If you're not in Plexus, you don't know what that is. But if you're in Plexus, you know what it is. Get some ease.
Yeah, if you're not a Plexus ambassador, I would encourage you to increase a couple of things, either through diet or through supplements. Your omegas 3s and 6s are huge for anti-inflammation. And especially for guys, those have some very, very positive benefits with stress levels, with even anxiety, depression, with sleep. Magnesium is huge, so if you can get a good quality source magnesium, that's going to help your body recover quicker. That's one of the big ingredients in BioCleanse, and that's why a lot of us take it pre-workout. if I'm exercising consistently, which is what I did during the 6 weeks, then yeah, I'll split mine up. Otherwise, I'll take it all at bedtime. But you wanting to, it's kind of like it's the small, consistent things that help you heal. And you know, God designed our bodies to be able to handle a lot of stuff. But if we just throw even something positive on us all at one time, it's very difficult for our system to use it as effectively. So what I found personally is if I start to split like my anti-inflammatory, my recovery stuff throughout the day, my body recovered better. So that's, for me, that was my explanation for why the BioCleanse made more sense in the morning than it did all at one time in the evening. And then I also take some ease capsules throughout the day as well. So, all right, gentlemen, we're up on 8 o'clock. I am having my last slice of pizza for the next 6 weeks, and getting ready for this thing. Stocked up on some good. Oh, one thing to keep in mind too is that when you guys start replacing. It might not happen in the first couple of days, but at some point, I mean, we're men. We need food, right? So you're going to start replacing fruits and snacky type, good, healthy things. Keep in mind of what you are replacing. So if you are finding yourself very hungry and it's not a day where you're fasting, it's not a day where you have any restrictions, keep in mind that berries in particular are lower in fructose, so there's not as much sugar going into your body. So it's a better glycemic index for your body to process that blood sugar. So I would caution you to stay away from eating like a pound of grapes. You know, a handful of grapes is good, but just stay away from the higher sugary, and you can look that up and see what, you know, goes with your system. Try to get fruits that are a little bit more fibrous. So bananas are high in sugar. Grapes are high in sugar. So just be cautious. I mean, those are all great things in moderation, but you probably want to get some higher fiber because those are going to give you some phenomenal benefits. It's going to, again, help flush out the stuff that you're working through your system. It's going to give you the little bit of sweetness, the filling that you need. So apples are good, and berries are great as they give us a bunch of other benefits as well.
Yeah, Josh, I found quinoa. I'm a huge fan of quinoa now. I love quinoa and brown rice. Don't do white rice, but brown rice and quinoa. And I like my favorite. One thing I learned through this is I was eating more steak, more pork, which I'm like, hey, as a man, that's great. Mm-hmm. I had to go actually buy myself some better quality meat, throw it in with some veggies at night, and I actually loved it. It was great. And during the afternoons, quinoa and good stuff.
Yeah. I think you'll find, and again, we're not intended either with the plexus thing or with just our, just the blessing that we have living in the States. We're not intended to be eating, like beef jerky and rice cakes our entire lives. It's not it. But for 6 weeks, we're asking you to lay some of the blessings that we have here in Western civilization. Just kind of some of that extra stuff aside. Get back to basics. Understand what it feels like to be hungry. Understand what it feels like to commit to understanding what you're going through physically in order to be able to challenge yourself. And so that's really the point of this. That's the point of the fast day. That's the point of restricting what goes into your system. And it's really an awesome challenge, guys. I know it can sound intimidating, but it is really doable at any level. So just commit to this and just say, for 6 weeks, I'm not giving this up. We end the week of Thanksgiving, so nobody's giving up their turkey and dressing. Well, maybe Josh is, but he's over in that place we defeated and then saved their rear ends a couple times. Yeah, so we'll send you some good cornbread dressing from the States, brother. All right, guys. I'm Josh French. I'm Good and Getting Gooder. I am available online if you guys have any questions. You have a blessed evening.
Sounds good, Josh. Thanks. Bye.
Thanks, Josh.